Hi everyone, I'm Sarah, Childhood Finds, and thank you for joining me for my weekly What Sold videos. And today I have a fair amount of stuff to show you, some decent things as usual. Nothing that's gonna blow off your socks, but just some decent things to share with you. And I definitely can see the slowdown now. So the holiday rush is pretty much over. I'm still making my, some typical sales, but holiday rush has definitely slowed down. But let me go ahead and show you some of the things I've sold. I've seen Poshmark and Mercari pick up very slightly, so I have a few of those to share with you. But again, as always, mostly eBay, so let's just get started. Here we are starting with my eBay sales, and I wanted to show you this one first because this board game is wild to me. So I have found it 3 times this year, and each time the price has continued to go up. And so what this is, it's a Spin Masters game, Santorini strategy-based board game from 2016. It is complete. First time I found it, sales were showing that it sold for 15 to 20. So I priced it around 20, took a best offer of 15 for it, I believe. I'd have to double check, but right around there, 15 to 17, I think. And then the second time, I saw prices had increased a little bit, and I ended up selling it for $23 within a day or two. And now I picked it up again just recently and sold it for $43, my full asking price within a day. And I am so glad. This is just a heads up. If you tend to source a lot of the same items, do continue to look up sales and remain competitive, and don't just price over your last one, even if you've had it recently. Because this is something that I found just a couple months ago, and it just recently started to go up. Maybe that has to do with Christmas time. Factor that in, but do check your items still when you find them. Just reiterate or see that it is still selling for what it was previously. And so this doubled, almost doubled from the last time I sold it, but for $43, and I picked this up for like 50 cents. This is a Kamar White Plush Rabbit 10-inch bunny, hibiscus orange flower. And Kamar tends to be a brand I pick up. It doesn't sell super fast, but it tends to always sell. And this sold for $30, a full asking price. It's been listed quite a long time, and I paid about $1 for it. These have been listed a very long time. It's a lot of 2 brass camel animal figurines, small miniature 2 inches. They sold for $9, my full asking price. But again, guys, they're like this big, and I just hooked them in a tiny box. There's some padding too. I didn't just hook them in there. But it was fine. I probably paid like 25 cents or 50 cents for them. And, a lot of things that have been sitting for quite a while sell during fourth quarter. That's really what a lot of people tend to build up to is fourth quarter. Of course, you want to make sure your store is great year round, but that's what you're really building up to, most sellers. This is a Ravensburger 9,000 piece jigsaw puzzle, and this, I do have a Ravensburger puzzle video. If you haven't watched it about big money ones, I will link that down below if you want to check it out. I also did one on White Mountain puzzles. I need to do more puzzle videos. I need to get back into that one. But this I ended up just taking a best offer for $119. I probably could have got more for it if I'd waited even longer, but the bigger items, I just don't have the place to really put a lot of them right now. I'm already taking up too much space as it is, so I need to be mindful about my big items, and I need to be able to let them go sometimes for a little less so that I can keep growing my store and keep getting new items, and maybe lay off on buying the big stuff until I have more space, so I'm not just taking over the world here at this house, but sometimes you just can't help it, right? But this is sold for $119 on an offer, and I did pay up for this at about $25 at an estate sale, but still a good profit for it. This is a 1940s Ernest Steiner, and by the way, I would have put that puzzle together. I would have loved to put that puzzle together if I actually had a place for it. I love puzzles. You guys have heard me talk about that. But besides the point, this is a 1940s Steiner original gold tone walnut shell sewing kit, vintage as is. This is another thing. My mother-in-law picked it up, and I'm like, what are you buying? And she knows things that I don't. Obviously, you've seen that in all my other videos. That is why it's great to have someone else to source with, because, man, some things that she picks up I would not pick up, and that's what's great is we have 2 minds, because I pick up stuff that she thinks is trash. So it's in equal balance. We balance each other out with our sourcing. She picked this up for $3. And it's like this big. And I'm like, you're spending $3 on that. But it sold for $33 really quickly after I got it listed, and had some flaws to it. Would have probably sold for a little more if I was able to clean it up, but still an excellent profit for how big that little guy is. This is a 1979 Applause Rodney Lee Needs Love Gorilla Monkey 8 plush stuffed animal toy 8-inch. And so even though I am an animal person and I hate putting the wrong thing in there, I still put monkey and ape in all of those like listings. So even though when it's obviously an orangutan, I'm gonna put that it's a monkey because people are looking for monkeys. And you know, that's just a thing to look at for your descriptions. Put things that other people might see it as. Even if you know that's not, even if you know the orangutan is not a monkey, put monkey in there if you've got space, because it'll help, I think, increase your visibility. But this sold for $13 full asking price. Probably been listed less than a month. Bought it for $2 at a Goodwill. This is a Ralph and Cuckoo, a taste of Louisiana cookbook, 1984, first printing. I sold this for a best offer of $13. I paid 50 cents for it at an estate sale. And it sold relatively fast after I got it listed. This sold quickly. I paid, I think, 50 cents for it at a thrift store. It's a vintage 1991 mini 3-inch Arthur Court bunny rabbit picture frame with poem inscription. Sold fast, so I was happy with that profit, and it was petite. This I just picked up at a recent estate sale for $1. It's a 1987 Applause Buffy Koala and Baby Plush Stuffed Animal Korea 16-inch vintage winter. And I don't know if I said I took a best offer of $15 for this. And I took that offer very quickly because winter season is going to be leaving us soon. So I wanted this big thing. I listed this thing right after I got it and wanted it gone for the Christmas season. Because again, I have a bad habit of picking up big things that I shouldn't, especially plush right now. Easton Press, In the Arena, Richard Nixon, Library of the Presidents. I picked this up in a auction lot of Easton Press books I got. This one was one of the least valuables, and I still have my other much more valuable ones listed, but this sold for a best offer of $20 and went quickly. Here's one of my last Polly Pockets. I think I might have one, maybe two left, and that makes me so sad. I want more Polly Pockets. They're fun. And this is vintage Polly Pocket Princess Polly's Woodland Realm figure and squirrel, no chain. Sold for $65, the full asking price. This is Incredible Petables Fat Cat Plush, 8-inch, pink purple, white stuffed animal. This took a little while to sell. I paid $2 for it at a garage sale and took a best offer of $26 for it. It was very cute. This took forever to sell, but I got it for free. This is actually my dad's. When they moved, they gave me a bunch of stuff, and that's honestly what really started my reselling, are my parents giving me a bunch of their stuff when they were moving. So thank you to you guys. You really kick-started my reselling. And this is, and who would have thought I'd be here now after just selling, you know, things that people were giving me. And so this is NASCAR Jeff Gordon, number 24 car-shaped insulated lunchbox from 1998. Sold for a best offer of $14 and took forever. And this is Ultra Detail figure number 430 Aardman Animation, the Raincoat Grommet, Wallace and Grommet. This sold for full asking of $39 and I paid about $1 for it. This is Crazy Horse, the Strange Man of the Ogalallas by Marie Sandoz, 1965 printing. Took a best offer of $25 for this. I have no recollection of where I bought this, but it sold for $25 and I wouldn't have paid much for it. This I just bought giant Squishmallows off of Facebook Marketplace because I make poor choices. I'm going to make money, but they're huge, guys. They take up so much space, so much. And I talk about not loving selling Squishmallows, and I still did it. I still bought it because it was a decent deal and I'm weak. And plus it's winter season, so I am always panicked that my death pile will not survive me through winter. So I panic and buy things I probably shouldn't. But I'm happy I bought this. It's gonna make me money. And so this is the first one to sell. I've less than $2 into each one, probably about $1.50 into each. And this is Squishmallows 12-inch Oogie Boogie Burlap Nightmare Before Christmas 2022 plush, sold for a best offer of $25. This I picked up very recently. It sold very quickly. And I watched so many people pick up this book and toss it to the side because they're like, trash, trash. So that's why I love books, because a lot of people see them as trash. I love books. And not everybody, guys. There's plenty of book resellers and plenty of book lovers that see the value, but many people look over them. Thankfully for me, this sold for full asking price of $80 and have about $1 into it. It's a $15.99 Geneva Bible Patriots Edition hardcover. And I might not have even looked up this book, but it was towards the end, it was, kind of after I'd made my whole rounds at the estate sale, and I was just doing some last looks, and I just happened to see it and saw it was different. And that's what made me research it. This book I'm sad I sold. I don't remember where I picked this up, but I'm actually very sad I sold this one. I wanted to keep this one, but I'll find another copy. How I priced this was actually quite high considering others that were listed. And that's just because I took into consideration, let me say what it is first. This is The Stranger Beside Me by Anne Rule, first printing, first edition, 1980. So some items, as I'm always talking about, I'm just always trying to share how I price items if I price them not kind of in conjunction with solds. And this one, there's quite a few that sold for quite less than this. But I know that, so Anne Rule is the author of this book, and she actually worked with Ted Bundy, who this book is based on. And so I know that true crime is big, and there's many documentaries and many things. There's a recent one that came out on Netflix about Ted Bundy, and it's just something that is very prolific in society. I enjoy reading it too. I do lots of this stuff and listen to lots of these books. And I just knew that this was worth more than what these seem to be selling for. That's not always a good mindset to be in, because that's not always accurate. But this one I got lucky with. Sold for $55, and I'm sad I sold it. But it's actually going international. I should have looked where it was going. It took a few months to sell, which wasn't bad. Even though I don't remember where I grabbed it from. This is a brass 6 rabbits, bunnies, kissing, tie, jewelry, key, wall hanging rack. Sold for $15.20, I think, on an offer. And I paid $3 for it, so not a huge profit, but decent, easy to pack, easy to ship, easy to list is how I always look at my items. I paid $5, I think, for these at a yard sale, and they were basically new. They were new in the box, but the box looked like poop, so I threw that out. I will do that on occasion if the box really adds no value, and for shoes, I found that sometimes it just doesn't because it adds so much on the shipping. Depending on what they are. So do look at that if it's worth sometimes keeping that box. If it's a collectible, you should probably keep it. But shoes, maybe not. And I'm not an expert on shoes, so maybe I'm wrong saying that. But this is Rockport Light Lock Spike System men's golf shoes, 9 wide, leather upper. It sold for $40. They took a little while to sell. This I picked up at an estate sale where, again, people really weren't, well, it was full of, ammunition, guns, all that kind of stuff. So I let all the guys fly at that. And then I looked at the scraps after. But I went to the book section in that room because the books, a lot of those kind of books sell really well in that hobby. And so it's a professional loading a rifle, pistol, shotgun by George Herder, 1970, 3rd edition. Sold for $45. Took a fair amount of time to sell, but I only paid about $1 for it. This is a Hallmark Jingle Pals Very Merry Trio Snowman Penguin Singin' Rockin' 2006 works. And I did include a video of it working. I tend to pick up Jingle Pals. This one wasn't super worth it just because it was quite long, so it just, the size box I had to use not super worth it. I paid $3 at a thrift store, but it sold within a day or two, so I still made a profit. This is My Little Pony Generation 3 Candy Heart Valentine's Ponies. I still have ponies, guys. I think I'll have ponies for a very long time because many of them that I now have left are my long tail ponies. And this, I think, sold for a best offer of $13. And 51 cents are into each pony, just as a reminder. This one I found at a recent estate sale, and I was super excited because I've sold this bear before, and I found 2 of them. I wish sometimes that you could did video myself, because in my head, I feel like I dived. Because when I see things that I know, and I know I've sold, and no one else is looking for, I still dive at them like I'm guarding them. I don't know why. All of the plush bags at this estate sale, everything else in the house had been picked over. No one had opened a single plush bag, and I ran to them when I saw his little feet, or saw his little head peeking out. And it wasn't necessary. But I do. It's what you're conditioned to do sometimes as a reseller. And this sold for $33 after that whole long sale. And I have another one. I paid $1 for him. Sir Andrew, the Armor Bearer, 10-inch plush, Faith Kids Christian Spiritual 1999 bear. And he sold quite quickly, as I knew he would. This is Furby Babies. It's one of my very last Furbies. I might have one more after this, if that. And it's orange, blue, cheetah, leopard, tiger, spot, stripes, works from 1999, and he had his tag. And I took a best offer in this one for $47. These things are a sign to look up, new old stock items. This was at one of the huge estate sales I went to that I did a video on, and I found a box of these. I finally sold some. They've taken a while. I've been trying to find the right price for them. These 2 sold for $16 on a best offer. It's a lot of 2 KO Rec typewriter cover-up film correction, 30 tabs. And I just did them in a lot of 2. I have many more lots of these left. So I paid like $2 for probably 10 lots worth. So definitely look up the new old stock stuff, because you never really know. And this is just a couple things that sold on Poshmark and Mercari. This is on Poshmark, a Beverly Micro Pure White Hell Jigsaw Puzzle, Japan, 1,000 piece. And you can see why this puzzle would be terrible. It's all white. All white. This is one I would probably try to put together because I make poor choices. But it sold for $18. It's been listed a very long time on eBay and a little while on Poshmark. I don't know what I paid for it. I don't know where I got it, but I wouldn't have paid much. This has been listed quite a long time. It's a Worry Woo Monster 12-inch Twitch the Monster of Frustration plush from 2007. Had its little tag, sold for $18 on Poshmark. I think I only paid $1 for this at a thrift store a fair amount of time ago. I've had this Starbucks mug forever. I have no idea where I got it from, but I probably didn't pay too much. And it's a Starbucks 2009 mug, Stockholm Design House, olive green striped mug, 12 ounce. Sold for $15. This has also been listed forever. You're seeing a lot of my long tail items selling right now. Pink Dinosaur Plush Cloth Triceratops, 1992, Determined Products, Ink Applause as is. It just had a little bit of kind of flaws on the feet. Sold for $14 on Mercari. This was one of the few items I listed when I was still listing items over £1, so it's been over a year it's been listed there. But sold for $14. I think I paid a couple dollars in a thrift store. This is just a 2002 My Little Pony Generation 3 Peachy Pie Friendship Ball Sparkle Ponies Pink Glitter. And it sold for $10 on Mercari. And one last one. 2018 Raising Cane's Frosty the Snowman Christmas Dog Plush Stuffed Animal. $10 it sold for. And that's pretty much all the ones I have to share with you. I've sold some other items, but this is a chunk of them. And I hope that you guys all have. I don't know if I'll have time to make another video before the holiday season, but if you are celebrating Christmas, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas with your family and just have had a good holiday season, whatever you may celebrate. And thanks for joining me, and I will see you guys on the next one.